All right, now let's see if it's deleted your character over the week, like it has done before. Charlie Totemi and athletics, speed. Yep, we start adding things to your character sheet here. Uh, yeah, it doesn't have it doesn't actually have. I can't put use legendary +3, which is your base if you're sprinting. Like if you're running flat out, like so you're dodging and running, that's just base. If you're actually, doing the full on flash, it bumps up to legendary +3 as a base. It's in the description. If you hold your mouse over mythic speed, I made sure to put it in. It's +6 to athletics for full defense or sprinting. Yeah, or you can do it longhand. Well, actually, I can put it in stunts and put it in stunts. Bonus to action. Then let's go to try. If you click fluent, we get a roll. Very, and it can when I mouse over the roll results, good. And it's time to go into settings and turn off your stupid hints. So we don't get two paragraphs worth of we don't get 2 paragraphs worth of information every time you make a roll. Okay. So it is rolling. That'll work. I'm getting better at this roll 20 stuff. Right. Well, um, you get 3 free zones. That's without any real effort. Your base dodge or athletics at legendary because of your speed powers. That's without any super effort. But when you're actually running, right, the flash music is doing and the lightning effects are kicking in. You don't get lightning effects because I'm not messing. I think the Speed Force is the second dumbest thing Marvel Detective Comics ever made up. Um, uh, it as a former physics major, it bugs me on so many levels. It's unbelievable. It's difficult to talk about. The only dumber DC power is Wonder Woman because she's got the powers of all the Greek gods, except the Greek gods gave them more power than they had. So she doesn't have like the strength of Hercules. She's stronger than Hercules because Hercules made her stronger than he was. The bleep, how do you give somebody more than you had? No, no, no. Mm-mm. Feminist writers, I swear. I'm more girl boss than the gods who made me girl boss. Shut up. Go away. Go sit in a corner. We'll bring you some oatmeal. Right? Yeah. And just as a writer, that breaks my brain. And so that's for that reason Wonder Woman is my least favorite power setup. And the Speed Force, all rules of physics don't work except we're going to claim that physics is the source of all of our powers is my second biggest pet peeve in all of Detective Comics. So, but you're still hella fast. Right, but like if you see like the Flash run in like a tornado around somebody or something like that, that's your plus six, right? You just like dodging a bullet, that's just legendary if you don't know it's coming. But if you're like sprinting through machine gun fire or something, then it's the full plus six. So you can be using that. It was good to make that button because I have a feeling you'd be using it a lot. Okay, so let's take a look at your character because this is Fate Core. So you splashed down Earth, you ran across the Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic to get to Manhattan, which is not there anymore because but you eventually got to New Manhattan, which is you know the New Manhattan area uh, of um, of the metro. So something interesting is we are pretty sure we know what Josh Waltzing's character is going to be, and he's not going to play a convict. He's going to play somebody who's been on Earth this whole time. So as the sky, as the sky rains super alien powered space convicts, he decided he wants to play Judge Dredd. So every I I can't quote his reaction because it wouldn't be organic profanity and but but he liked that idea. So you superpowers are gonna and he's basically gonna be gun-toting Batman. With gun-toting Batman, who doesn't have to hand the prisoners over to Commissioner Gordon. He can just shoot them. Yep. That's kind of his. But along with that idea comes the idea of kind of megacity one. So we're probably gonna do the whole left coast as a huge Uber city. And that's fine. I mean, it's basically one sprawl anyway. So they just rebuilt around the left coast. not west. Yes, yes. The the 75 with if you're within 60 miles of the coast, you know, you're in bluest, um, you know, anybody to the right of Mao is an arch conservative kind of political territory, right? So like the idea you can walk on one sidewalk from Boston to Maine. So technically true, but man, those metros get really, really close. So we can, and that's kind of the setting of a Judge Dredd character is a big super city. Um, so we can roll with that. So we've got a story question for you. Like, so you went to your home. You're from New York, and you found your descendants, not necessarily descendants, but like your extended family exists as a tribe, but your your past great grandpa's time, and so not only do they not even remember you, but they've pretty much never even heard of you. And that was when we wrapped last time. So what are you going to do about that? Like, are you going to try to insinuate yourself into the lives of total strangers because you have some shared genetics, and they've never heard of you, or are you going to move on with your life, or how are you going to deal? How are you going to deal with the fact that because you started off in what, the Vietnam War? You're one of the oldest, so you're 150 plus years gone, dead to the world. What does that look like for Charlie Tolemi? Uh, you don't exist, you don't exist to them, but the reverse is not true. Okay. Okay. Uh, no, nobody gets to pick their powers. Um, yeah. So the I don't know, we probably wrote down on your character how you got in trouble here on Earth. Shot in the hip, lost mobility, hooked on morphine, right, and convicted as a top killer. Yeah. So the Namians have like the world's most sadistic sense of justice and humor. They're just utter bastards. So when they fix you up to sell you on the galactic market, they do it in a way that's going to torment you or punish you with your previous crimes. Um, the Namians, like we won't even go into what they do to sex offenders, but like, because so with the Namians, what their modifications to make you, valuable enough to sell, um, are designed to just punish you day in and day out with who you are, because there's only the Namians and the guilty must suffer, and that's what those little shark face bastards believe, and just everybody hates them. But they're very useful, so you know that they get to live. Uh, so that's the Namians, and so you were kind of wheelchair slash, you were walking with with like pairs of canes and trying to deal with it, and that's what got you in the pain, and the pain and mobility loss of severe pelvic damage, is what got you hooked on painkillers, and the that's what got you that was your downward spiral, so that's why they made you a speedster. um only if mental manipulation was part of your crime, right? Okay, I guess we will talk about what they do. I guess we will end up talking about what they do to like abusers, and that is like they make those they give those people they make them sex toys basically. Um, uh, because that was the fitting punishment for using others as they get used. You know, so there's some psychological interference involved in forcing that upon people, but by and large, no, like they don't they don't replay they don't set up a program in your brain to replay that the cop's death, or the cop's near death, every Tuesday at 3:50 p.m. Like they don't need to. Um, no. So you probably got off relatively lightly because you weren't actually trying to kill the cop, but might be one reason why you're a relative good guy and not tortured into criminal insanity as opposed to just criminality. So have you seen the 2016 Judge Dredd movie? Oh yeah, and it's so good. Okay, well, that that's basically gonna be, New Manhattan is part of that city, right? So we're gonna have you two be kind of in similar metros, just coming at things. You'd be the vigilante and he'd be the judge, jury, and executioner. No, no, he's there. There's thousands of judges. but there's thousands of judges for who are the only real police force um for a city of something like 80 million. Oh, they just have really good gear and attitude. Yeah, you're thinking of RoboCop. Yeah, no, yeah, that movie was not impressive. Dread with Carl Urban in it is one of the best hard R action movies that I've ever seen. I mean, it's just the acting was it was gritty and dark, but the acting was good. All right, so not for everybody. Fair enough. So I was kind of one of my goals for the day was to figure out whether you were going up to Anand Station or whether you were going to have your own like superhero city that you were going to deal with, and now we know you're going to be the vigil. You're going to be the vigilante, a vigilante in New Manhattan, which looks a lot like Megacity One, but with the serial numbers filed off because no copyright strike, no copyright strike. Um, so I'm gonna do my usual thing for the map setup where I'll put kind of the landscape up top and whatever we need to put for cities or anything else we'll slap down underneath it. Alexander Weber is Josh Waltzing. Nope. We're gonna be making a new character for Josh Waltzing. For Josh Roseborough. Um, yeah, Roseborough wants to play Dread. So, he's gonna have the cool motorcycle and the super pistol and all the it basically is Batman with less kung fu. Less he's official, less kung fu and less kung fu, more guns, and he can just kill you. That's kind of that's kind of the difference. But in terms of really dark, grim, growly, super intimidating, um, force for good, those two are kind of kissing cousins. Um, so you've got yeah, and the residential towers are kind of cities unto themselves. Those that's like there's 70,000 people, but you don't do probably as well inside of those because all you can do is run in circles mostly. But, you know, uh, yep. So we've got your metro, and then it's what's up for today's adventure? In aspects. What shall we? And for story aspects, we've got Vigilante's Power and Injustice and the Starfallen Gospel. We've got maybe room for one more story aspect. All right. All right. I have, I have a question for you. How are you going to eat? Where are you going to sleep? How are you going to eat? So you're currently homeless? For as of today's adventure, you're homeless? Okay. Well, who would you? Yeah. Who would you get a hold of? I mean, he doesn't want to be homeless, does he? Like your idea for your character isn't I want to be I want to be a stinky smelly bum. No. Uh, but you if it um are you sure? Hi. I don't have any I don't have any ID. I don't have any ID and I'm not currently wearing any clothes. But I am totally a veteran of a war that took place a century and a half ago. And therefore I'm here to claim my benefits. You will probably get bed. You will probably get a bed. Um, it's be in the psych ward, but you'll get a bed. Nice soft gown, some slippers. Yeah, yeah. Can't wait to see. Can't wait till your first blood screen comes back. Tox screen comes back. You know, with nanites in it. That won't. Nope, no problems there. Oh no, yeah. Well, the Starfall has just happened. Like this is like day two. So there's like craters and the world is going insane because there's an even million plus superpowered, not technically not aliens, also trying to orient themselves, and it's not going really well. I mean, there's the stress-based hysterical freakouts, and when somebody can, I don't know, fly and or drill their way through solid rock and or any of another 100 things. Um, yeah, beat cops aren't doing really well. Um, and so I think that's perfectly good. I think uh we can start you off right there. So I'm actually gonna throw a fate point at you for Starfallen Gospel. Or for just um because um you've been on Earth 8 hours before the first uh before the first Starfallen uh tries to kill someone right in front of you. Here, in New Manhattan. So there's a not so distant explosion. So yeah, you can take your fate point, you jerk. I know it's a mistake to give you people fate points. I know it. I can feel it in my bones. Um, no, yeah, we're not doing it. No, I'm not falling into the same trap I did during the Star Wars game. I have 83 fate points. I'm gonna just dump them on Palpatine. Oh, shut up. Nope, not gonna happen. Not happening. Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture. You're way too young to get that joke. Okay. Um, so there's a not so distant explosion. Crowds start yell. Crowds do the crowd things. There's the screaming and the running. Um, you know, yeah. I was just waiting in case dogs needed cared for or something. Um, okay. It's maybe a mile or two away, or not even, but it's a couple blocks away, and yeah, chaos and big with the badness. Um, I was discreet. Yeah, modernish people in them, and never having had to deal with superpowers before. You don't know what's going on. You could probably run away. If you could outrun your conscience, you'd be fine. Yep. Yep. I think that covers it nicely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's again, there's like a million of you guys, so there's probably a handful in any given star system of the Valorian Empire. Uh, and the Valorian Empire pretty much did right by you guys. You were given an indenture. It took most of you, you know, maybe 5 to 7 years to pay off your debts, and then they set you free. So you ended up doing less. Being sold to aliens, you ended up doing serving less time than you would have if you were in your if you were willing to play nice with society, you ended up doing serving less time than you would have if you'd stayed on Earth. Um, if you weren't willing to play nice, then you got to serve out the rest of your sentence time working for the Valorians. Um, because actually, for the forced labor peasant system was like if that was the prison system, they didn't have prisons in like the Anglo-Saxon world, so they would make you a serf for a nobleman who was a big enough badass that he could hunt you down if you misbehaved. You know, that was kind of one of the roles of slavery in the early Middle Ages. Was we can't You're not quite bad enough to execute you, but you know you don't play well with others, and we're cognizant of that. Or just hang you, right? If you like half the things that you'd go to prison for 10 or more years now, they just hang you from the closest tree and be done. Um, but if you weren't quite that bad, if it was like, you can't just pay a fine for it and we'll go about your way. We can't just flog you for it because it's too severe for that. But we can't quite kill you. Then they would then that was kind of one of the ways to become a slave in Anglo-Saxon society. Um, and and those types of slaves were given to nobles who could make them toe the line. Um, but you could still earn your freedom. You still got paid for your labor. Um, you still got paid for your labor. You still or you still were able to work for yourself on days when you weren't working for your master. You could buy your freedom. I mean, even then, that wasn't a life sentence. So yeah, it's interesting. When the BLM shouting stops and you actually start looking at institutions over history. Hmm, Sometimes it's like, that's not a bad idea. I can't come up with anything better with given your technology base. And then there's other times like, oh yeah, no, you people are just evil. It's like, nope, nope, nope. You're gonna burn. That kind of. And there's everything in between. Um, yeah, pretty much. Although, I don't. We haven't established how much of your 150 years it took you to kind of rehabilitate, because you had 150 years. I haven't given anybody any details because nobody's investigated. Right. So, you go running to investigate? Okay. So, you and your birthday suit arrive on the scene of the crime. Really should do something about that at some point. Um, yep, truth. Yeah, no personal attacks made. No personal attacks being made. Um, Souls in space, was it? No, I'm right. I'm sorry. I'm better. Uh, um, and so you've got um, you've got a gentleman standing in front of like a half destroyed city block. Play cute with me. Let me drag you places. Oh, not the whole map. Arg. You're an insufficient token. Ooh. I found better graphics for the Madness Maze. That's good. Everywhere. That's the problem. But you'd rather not deal with it at the moment. Yes, I get that. And yet it's always some form of a choice. I do not have enough character art. Oh well. I'll cheat. So there's some random guy is some total rando is standing here. There's half ruined buildings around him, and some remains, and he's kind of shouting at the sky. Um, where's my home? Where's my home? What have you done to my home? Oh yeah, total freak out. Okay. Um, You make me do more tokens that I'm not ready for. Ah, Cookman, hate you. Good job. Um, assets. Townsfolk. Yay, I'll just use townsfolk. It looks like there's somebody half pinned under some rubble of a fallen wall. And so for your move, you're gonna go over to her. Is that what you're doing? Or you can go over to her as a free action, I guess. Okay. Physique. Yeah, well, first you got to get her out from under the rubble. Physique. And their Grant Gustin little long distance runner muscles. They get nothing done. You're built like a cross country runner. You poor bastard. So for your turn, you zip over and you struggle in futility against a slab of concrete holding her down. She's even more nervous with you nakeding next to her. And she didn't really think she could be more nervous. But hey, that makes you stop long enough for the person to random person to see you and scream at you at the top of his hysterics. Where's my home? Where did you put it? I'll find it. And he raises his hand at you. Now let's take a look at what you've got. You don't think you have any sensory input. You've just got life support, speed, and recovery. Awesome. So I'll assume he's roughly your equal. Ah, he raises his hand and fires a tractor pressure beam. Um, so a couple tons of sheer force right at you, and you have a picosecond to ponder. Hey, I bet I know how the dead bodies got to be all around. Probably an easy dodge if you're gonna dodge it. You rolled down 4. You rolled down 4. Ouchie. All right, so that's one. So that's a 5 stress hit. You almost ran out of the way, but then you realized that if you did, that the woman would be destroyed, and she doesn't have an enhanced body like you. Yep. Third physical stress back to mild bruise sounds wonderful. And I don't add another splattered body civilian outline right there. Okay, cool. And if you look at inhuman recovery, once per turn, you can, as an extra action, get rid of 1 mild consequence. Yeah. as part of you're going to be like minus -1 for your for whatever else you try to do, but you can just get rid of the mild consequence. Yep. Well, you can do that once per scene. So this is the only one you can shrug off, but you can shrug this one off. So he hits you with enough force to rip a police cruiser in half, and it bruises you. And you're able to shield the woman with your body, which is why you rolled down for. Yes, totally did that on purpose. um, and then the bruising just kind of heals, visibly fades away. Um, and he shouts like, and so his insane rambling, psychotic rambling modulates, and it is now, "You're one of us. They took everything from us. They took everything from us." And what do you do? Okay. Rapport. It's more skills you don't have. I suggest in potential life and death battles, you try skills that you do have. It's, I'm just gonna throw that out there. You tied. He's he's momentarily distracted by the nakedness of you appearing out of nowhere. Fair honesty. All right, so you get you get a fragile aspect off of him, right? That's going away next turn. But for the moment, he's totally distracted. But he's still kind of hysterical. This was my home, he shouts, in the middle of a market district. And um, we're gonna go area of effects. And gets a superb. As he kind of lets off some steam by exploding. What would you like to do? We're gonna dodge? Okay. You get out of the way. You're suddenly over here. The woman stops screaming. I think that's going to be a mental stress attack. I think it's going to be a good mental stress attack. And mental stress rolled up. Fantastic attack on your emotional health. as you watch the trapped lady guest star in the old Akira anime. What? So willpower? Re-stress mental hit. No aspect. But you felt that one. Okay, your turn. Let's throw some more aspects. Um, yep. Okay. Physique. Um, right. So you tackle Bomb Boy. He blows up again. So you tackle him. You know, you're face to face, which a little awkward without pants, and he just kind of looks right at you and gives you an incoherent scream. And then you see his eyes start to glow, and you know all the hair on your everything stands up, and you're out of there. You don't get the full sprint because you're tackling him. You can't sprint while tackling. Like you could sprint up to the tackle, but at that point you're no longer sprinting. That's your no. Oh my goodness gracious, golly gosh, that almost makes up for the -4. Okay. Yes, indeed. Um, so you have him flanked and a step ahead. So we're gonna go with the classic speedster, you know, all the advantages we used to give to the werewolves. Uh, so he's now lying down in a crater. Bodies are now kind of plastered up against the far walls of the alley. They now define the alley. So you race away, he explodes, and it's your turn again. Not blowing up my town. All right, that's fists, or that's fight. Well, you've got three aspects to tag. He's distracted by your nakedness and flanked and a step, and you've got him flanked and a step ahead. So that ends up as epic fight. Nah, 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 yeah, nothing really. So go with that and bruised. Oh, he's an NPC. He's an NPC, so that would take a consequence, and he can't really take consequence. So knock him out cold. In the background, the remains of several civilians peel off the walls and fall to the ground in thick, wet thuds. The sound of distant sirens. You gonna let him live? Yes. Yes. Yep. Okay. All right. So you're not judge, jury, and executioner. We'll save that for Josh Roseborough. No, no, that's fine. Yep. It's a reluctant rush to the rescue. You're not here to cleanse the world of evildoers. Can do. It'd be interesting having you and Judge Dredd in a team together. Um, okay. So congratulations. You stopped somebody from blowing up a city block, and the casualties could have been much worse. Although you've got some lunch lady on your right hip. All right. So now what are you gonna do? Run away? Watch from the shadows? That there's not a lot of shadows. It's actually a relatively well lit. Um. Oh yeah. Let's get a notice. Let's get a notice from you. Funny thing about police states. Yep. Let's 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 zoom in on the picture up top. Why don't you show me what show me an inconspicuous place on that picture? I mean, I got no problem with you running off to be like random naked, random nudist in an alley. But other than that, all right, random 5 second. Okay, you're be able to watch. Okay. A you're gonna assume it's a police officer on a super buffed out motorcycle pulls up, wearing some kind of funky helmet that lets their jaw show. Um, black and then some kind of like gold eagle armor on the shoulder. Um, and oh, it's easy to understand the primitive technology they're using, like motorcycles, seriously. And he actually talks into his glove to communicate, which is just cute. It's like after dealing with galactic technology, um, with just like skull phones and stuff, that's just adorable. Um, so it's not no technology, but at the same time, you do kind of feel like you've been shipwrecked among the Amish. Uh, Um, well, he may be perfectly tough, but their toys are ridiculous. And he calls 6 bodies for recyc. Um, so he calls 6 bodies for recycling, and 6 bodies for recycling, and one alien for study. And you don't hear if there's a reply, but let's give you a stealth. I think you've got decent stealth. Is that yeah? So why don't you roll stealth versus the cops notice, the judges notice. See if the dice don't hate you. Okay, all right. So you remain hidden, and you hear him call in. This megacity recycles bodies. Blech. That they think the Starfallen are aliens. Interesting. And that they're collecting them for study. Probably not good. Do you go introduce yourself to the nice officer, or would you like to remain hidden? Yep. Judge shows up. Um, uh, they they uh, they think the Starfallen are alien invaders. So as you watch, the judge pulls his pistol, says "stun" out loud, and uh, shoots Bomb Boy a dozen times in the torso. There's twitching as taser rounds slam home, but he's breathing slightly at the end. Probably varies judge to judge. All right. Uh, Straight up the wall. Straight up works. Is that running straight up walls really does not bother you if you can get enough momentum. If you can get a running start. Yeah. Well, so because you're like your base athletics with your speed power is legendary, so like you can run up 8 stories for before the outward portion of your momentum kicks you off of the building. That's Yep. You're in an alley. You're in an alley. So like if we zoom in, 7 and 8, I'd say that that urban sprawl probably averages somewhere between 8 to 15 stories tall. 3 to 15 stories tall, but a lot of it's kind of 8 to 15 story, other than the big towers. So sure, you're up there. Notice you are all alone up there on the roof, getting a tan. Can you find some pants at some point? This GMing, this is getting just. I'm skipping so many jokes, right? Other than stealing them off somebody, you still, with your speed, you probably still can. Borrow the body, take his clothes, put the body back. All right. Gotta do it in a sprint and stealth. 40 plus 3 for notice. Yeah. So you got him flat-footed. What did you want? I wouldn't advise taking his gun. What would you do? Yeah, you said you want to do some weird things to him. That mean you the judge or the bomb boy? All right. And then repeat it to put him back after you've stolen his clothes. No, you're just gonna leave him naked on the roof? Oh, okay. All right. So carved up like a lab rat, and that's not what you're gonna let another Starfallen happen. Oh, okay. All right. That's some character decision. Yeah. Okay. Take that fate point. Although you're still keeping his pants. Would you like to pay a fate point to say you can find some kind of abandoned building running around town before you get windburned? Before he gets windburned someplace. Okay. Now let's zoom out a little bit. You notice one of the big towers um, has some exterior damage a long way up. So you run up the sides until you can run into the tower, and there's one level of the tower that looks like it was abandoned after somebody played high explosive ordnance tag with all the walls. Like a full quarter of the tower is just a riddled wasteland. It's just a riddled mess. Um, you don't know what happened there. Tower's name is Peach Trees. It's like older damage. It is Democrat City, so no. That's not fair. Hell's Kitchen got gentrified. All right, I stand corrected. It no, not yet. Um, but it's on a list. So it hasn't been cured. It's on Medicare. Yeah, I'm better. I'm better. I'm better. Oh, actually, there's a tower right here in the picture. We'll call it. We'll use that tower. Why not? Sternhammer. Do you have craftsmanship? Yeah. Do you have do you have do you have any fix-it skills? I don't know if and I don't know. Okay. Well, you can make craft to kind of like build yourself a functional shelter in the ruins. Okay. Um, Out of the shot out ruins of 5 or 6 apartments, you salvage a uh, you salvage a functional studio apartment in the wreckage with water and power and locking doors. You have a stern hammer. You have a stern hammer secret lair. Okay, how are you gonna get food? But clothes. So what? How now, brown cow? So what's next up? Do you have deceit as a skill? No. So you're not like waltzing. He just like made himself a secret identity, and you can't really do that. You can't just make roles to have a new identity in the new world. Okay. Not really. Okay. And are you going to be using your speed to steal? Well, you are you gonna? Okay, sure. What you? Okay. So I'm gonna need stealth and athletics and probably physique. Because unless you have a burglary, you're gonna have to strong arm it, smash something, and run away. Um. Well, unless you're gonna not do, unless you're gonna do it, uncharacteristically slow, it's the standard athletics. So basically, what we're doing here is you are So here's how we're gonna do this. We're gonna do athletics, stealth, physique as rolls. So you've done those, and my days of calling your character Grant Gustin are coming to a middle. I mean, he's a great actor and everything, but such a twink. All right. One, two, three. So that's plus three aspects. Now roll burglary at mediocre, right? Okay. So yeah. Oh, no. Okay. So epic burglary. You have food, clothing, and disposables for a year. You robbed a military surplus store. So, MREs, old uniforms, mid-level gear like Nogs, like Nox. Uh, you know, they seem like Legos to your galactic sensibilities, but they're functional things made out of Legos. So you can give Bomb Boy his pants back, and things will be a little less awkward. Well, you can actually, oh, that. What? Yeah. So he's gonna wake up. You know that, right? Okay. So take your fate point for Bomb Boy. So you're back from your robbery. With your speed, you've got this all set up before he wakes back up because he was shot with stun rounds very much. But he's lying there in your apartment, no longer naked, wearing, ironically, uh, wearing, military uniform, sort of fitting military uniform. Um, when he wakes up, what the bleep are you going to do now? I didn't think starting a secret +1 fate point for the naked bomb boy in my newly acquired apartment. Yeah, right. That may go as easily as you realize the apartment may be about to go bye bye as quickly and easily as you got it. I mean, it's just that simple. Uh, yeah. Can't wait to hear this one. So he wakes up screaming because hysterics. Well, he was kind of always screaming. I mean, he was screaming and blowing everything up when you knocked him out. You've got a window. It's only a half mile down. Really nice view from the towers. Rapport. Any aspects you want to get free tags off of for rapport, or that you want to throw fate points on for rapport? Well, make your rapport roll. We'll see how it goes. You can technically win this and keep your apartment. You're just gonna have to spend all 3 of your fate points. Oh, I'm not sure there is another way to save the apartment. Okay. And when he tries to blow it up for his next turn because he's having a hysterical fit. All right, knock yourself out. Oh, yeah, that's uh, physique. You have to throw him out the window. You running out the window would be athletics. It's still physique. You're still lifting, carrying, breaking. That's physique. Wrestling. That's physique. Running around him in circles. Running around him in circles while bitch slapping him 1,000 times in 5 seconds. That's athletics and fists, right? But or that's fight. That's athletics and then fight, right? But wrestling and lifting and carrying and throwing. That's physique. Yeah. Okay. He can toss his ass out the 500th story window, out the 50th story window before he can blow up. He looks sort of surprised as he explodes and falls. You gonna catch him? Here, I thought you were gonna like catch him and ask him if he wanted to try again. As that would be how you'd win him over, Batman style, just repeatedly throwing him out the window. But nope, nope, you're done. You're done. I just got this apartment. Screw you. Okay, well, you've got a place to live. You've got well, you can shower. Um, you would not believe the amount of sea spray that's accumulated on you after you jog across multiple oceans. You can shower, you can wear baggy, worn veterans clothes. You're not naked. You're not currently that's got to feel pretty good. He just falls to his death for 50 stories up, exploding the whole way down. Boom, boom, boom. Except, maybe not. 34 DF. You were standing out the window, looking out the window, saying "dumbass," and then you see him not die from the 50-story fall, which is completely unfair. I've got two aspects for boy. Oh, oh, Are you going to take some ownership for Bomb Boy since you took him away from the cops, and or are you going to let Bomb Boy go be somebody else's problem at this point? You know, so his first aspect is former member of the Weather Underground. The Weather Underground? They were. You don't know who the Weather Underground are? Yeah. Man, you do live in New York. All right, one second. So I figured it would be fun. I figured it'd be fun to give you an enemy who's from your era. I'll throw the link in the. Yeah, and two of Barack Obama's best friends were members of it when he was still a when he was still a state representative out of Chicago. They helped fund his career. Mhm. I was thinking like, okay, because just having him be like a jihadist would be too cliche. And the Unabomber's dead, so no, they didn't build a bunch of bombs. They bombed federal buildings. So we found a nice bad guy for you. A little bit. I'd imagine I'll have fun. So now what? What's life look like for you now? You're gonna let him go? Right? Well, the world is currently in utter chaos. So having family to protect is probably our safest bet. But yeah, making a bomb boy on the fly was fun. I don't have anything even remotely called shame. Particularly if you're smart, right? Like, let me finish that character up really quick. All right, so I think I've covered insanity. He believes that his problems can be solved by extreme violence. He believes in a communist revolution, which is insane. Um, I mean, I'm using actually going to use the pictures of a Weather Underground member, but we'll change his name. I'll actually you'd probably be using the actually probably be using the picture of Obama's mentor, but I can. Oh no no, I'm working on it as we speak. I'm cropping the image as we speak. Um, me? No. Oh, that's me from a demonstration. I just needed a person. Um, No, because I don't need to, I think his aspects make it clear that he's got a wacky political view and he's going to kill anyone and everyone to make it a reality. That's that, yeah, that's enough criminal insanity for me. Yep. Ah, no, you and him are the same age. You were busy fighting for the country and he was busy blowing it up. You two were just made for each other. But you don't know who he is yet. So, that'll come out with the newspapers, etc. Hey, you've got clothes. You could try to find a job. But yeah, it is kind of the middle of the Starfallen apocalypse. So, I love how evenly balanced fudge dice are that you can roll 40 of them and your result is still one. It's the so there's quite literally like a million of you guys, and uh, so recidivism rates among felons is about 40%, right? So 40%, so there's 400,000 superpowered people either running away to build power bases or just freaking the shit out all over the place. We'll say even a third of them. So think of 130 mid-level supervillains spread across 130,000 mid-level supervillains spread across the globe going ape shit today. That's what's no, no. And there's hundreds in New Manhattan for you to deal with if you're going to try to save people from them. And we can just pick highlights of your very long weekend. Because once you realize that the Starfall is tearing the world apart, you're probably going to get involved. Okay, so you've got an hour. You want to deal with another bad guy? Bomb Boy gets added to Rogues Gallery. Let me think. The problem is not the story. The problem is coming up with sets of superpowers that fit the story, like on the fly. That's kind of the big challenge for this kind of an adventure. Like I'm pleased with Bomb Boy. I don't know how many more of him I've got in the tank to beat. Oh no, like you running into people protecting your extended family because they're spread all over the region. That's not a problem. Uh, right, and to do that, well, see, as much as I like Smallville, and I liked Smallville, they really pushed it that all of that was happening in Smallville. That really the meteor rock thing, kind of, but it got thin. Um, yep. But that's because the conspiracy in that city made him, right? His season 1 and season 2 bad guys were the people secretly controlling the city. Location doesn't really matter for you because you're so fast. You can basically, you know, the old New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia kind of areas. You're there. Maryland. The New York and DC metro, maybe out to Philly. You got it. You can be there fast enough for it to not be relevant. So no, like your character, part of your character's aspect is that you don't need to justify keeping up with moving vehicles. And it didn't say a moving car. I'm probably not going to let you run at a supersonic speed, right? I think that's too much for the setting. But I have no problem with you keeping up with, say, a propeller-driven plane, lower-powered jets. You can top one. You can get into significant three digits in terms of miles per hour. You can run sports cars, performance sports car speeds easy. You know, 120, 130, 140, and traffic doesn't really bother you. So that's that's out. But I did say you can run fast enough to run on water, and that definitely puts you in the, you know, that definitely puts you upwards of 150, probably. So you can run propeller airplane speeds, low level jet speeds. So I don't think you could run faster than like 300 miles an hour. But running 60 miles an hour is like walking fast for you. Uh, you so you can't just teleport everywhere like you're lightning, like the actual Flash, but uh, you know, your commute times are significantly reduced from what Google Maps thinks they ought to be. Okay, so well, you know, um, if you look at a list of vehicle speed records, you know, I've got no problem with you being able to keep up with so like speed of sound is kind of your limit, right? You're a subsonic vehicle. Um, but the fastest, like, if you like go to Wikipedia and you go to the fastest vehicles, um, the fastest piston engine, fastest, piston engine, speed is like 448 miles an hour. Yeah, and that's out on the salt flats. Yeah, you know. Um, I would more likely be like fastest high performance cars. Um, Fastest cars in the world. Um, so let's look at that. So yeah, I mean, I got no problem with you running Ferrari speeds, which is like low 200s, 218, 220. Like you can sustain that, and you can probably sprint, right? You can cruise at like low 200s, mid 200s, because there's some, um, you've like the SSE Ultimate Aero. There's just regular product. There are produced cars that get into the upper 300s. The Hennessy Venom F5 Roadster 300 claims a top speed of 311. 340. Yeah. So I'm okay. I have no problem with you running your running speed being in the 300 mile an hour range, like 300 to 400 miles an hour. Yeah, half the speed of sound you can do, and for brief periods, I can imagine you pushing the speed of sound, but that's kind of your limit because just the physics that change when you hit the speed of sound, I don't I don't want to deal with. So if we want to throw that in your notes, that like, and you're a speedster, so it's worth noting, right? So so we want to put your top sustainable speed around 350 miles an hour, uh, with bursts up to about 600, approaching Mach 1. Right. That's about and you've got as much as you can possibly put into speed, right? And I'm like, yeah, I can see this technology allowing that. If you want to go above Mach 1, then you got to get flight powers, right? You need to have some kind of like jet. So I'm not saying you can't. So, with your speed stuff and you pick up flight or something, and then we're talking Superman shit, but you're not there yet. Your little culture of nanites hasn't learned that trick from any of the other little cultures of nanites. Oh shit, spoilers. Never mind. Anyway, um so like in an emergency, if you have to like go save great grand niece, Heidi, you can run there 500 to 600 miles an hour. If she's another state away, you can run there at 300 miles an hour. So 10. Well, because you run, you don't need roads, right? You can go way closer to as the crow flies than any car can. Unless you were in a real hurry. Yeah. Well, you're running so fast that at this point it looks much closer to you like leaping from rooftop to rooftop than running along a track. Roads and traffic rapidly become irrelevant to you. Just because the faster you run, the further the distance is between your footfalls. Another thing that bugs me about the Flash TV show, it's like, nah, no, you're not taking 800 steps up the side of that. At the speed you're going, you're not taking 800 steps up the side of that skyscraper. You're just up the skyscraper. You just extended your foot and you're up the skyscraper. Yeah, the Smallville did a better job of the Flash. Yep. Yep. And Clark hadn't come into his full powers and wasn't confident enough to do that. Although he's running way fast enough, easily fast enough. But yep, yeah, it just his brain, he hadn't accepted that he could. And the other thing is your in human recovery means you can go for days without sleep, right? You can go you can extra That's is like a whole other order of magnitude in terms of how much exercise and stress you need before your body needs to rest and recover. So not only can you can run at the speed of most passenger liners in terms of airplanes. So if you're trying to figure out how long it takes your character to get somewhere, you have about the same speed, same speed and endurance as commercial airliners because they fly 300, 350 miles an hour, and they can maintain that for, good 16, 20 hours if they're an intercontinental flight. So yeah, you can still run to Europe. I don't have a problem with that if you need to. But you're but because the Mach 1's kind of your limit, and you can't just sustain 600 miles an hour the whole time. Um, your character would still be the kind of person who might buy a plane ticket instead. But yeah, no, if you wanna spend the rest of the time, brainstorming bad guys or whatever else you want to do, that's fine. Or start inventing relevant recurring family members who are prone to trouble. That's worthwhile. I mean, we had a series of fights. I think fighting Bomb Boy and dealing with him was worthwhile, and he's definitely coming back. Oh yeah. Hmm. Pretty much. Or if they had to do work out in space, the space shuttle package, right? Some strength, some strength, some toughness, some life support and sensors, and flight. That's not Alexander Weber isn't far off of that as a character. Hmm. And that's because he's a Marine. Um, yeah, and that's basically, you know, the recovery and the cyborg senses are kind of the only really unique thing about him. But flight and life support probably going to be relatively common. I'd say life support's probably nearly universal, given it's a space-oriented culture and they no longer need spacesuits. If you can just like if you can, give somebody, the like, okay, you're 5, come in, or you're going into high school, time to get your tetanus shot and your last set of vaccinations. Oh, also, we'll just hook you up with the space shuttle package. You know, yeah. So yeah, measles, mumps, rubella, tetanus, vacuum, self-propulsion. All right, you got all your shots. Yeah. Um, and that's not necessarily universal because not everybody's going to be exposed. I'm a metal worker. I religiously keep up on my tetanus shots, on my tetanus boosters. You know, um, but lots of people just don't care. You know, um, so you don't have flight yet. you don't have cyborg senses yet. Um, your nanites haven't learned inhuman toughness yet. Um, yeah, so I was kind of like, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. But for the short term, like the Starfall itself is going to be just total insanity and devastation all over the place. So characters who are even remotely heroic are going to be busy for the next couple weeks. Um, yeah, so that's going to be your life. You know, you just failed to save somebody, and you can't outrun your past, right? So now you've got two faces that you see whenever you close your eyes: the cop you almost killed, and the woman you failed to save. So you've got your psychological motivation that when something goes wrong, you've got to go help. Um, because that's the only way you're going to be able to live with yourself and sleep at night. So we've got that covered, and that is for the good. Yeah, I mean, you want to just spend the last half hour screwing around making up bad guys? We could totally do that. Like, what's yeah, let's let's do some character creation for our rogues gallery. Okay. So all players can be edited by all players. Save changes. Who makes up these names? No help info. Thank you, please. No first time hints. Thank you, please. Okay. Um, so I gotta fix that name. That just hurts me. Um, Random. Random name generators hate me beyond all words. This is an actual name. Ryu is Japanese, and if I say it out loud, it's gonna be easier to nail it down. But if it's like Hanapiwin, that's clearly Native American. Hanapiwin is the name of a Cree Indian chief. Yep. All right, and that's what I need. That's what I need. Okay. I'm gonna play around with some background. Why don't you do an image search for first for like because that's half Japanese, half Native, half American Indian for a character, which in America, totally doable couple, right? Um, so why don't you search for some from character art? Uh, so we've got an environmental activist. Um, okay. So, and then I think animal control would be an interesting animal control would be an interesting power. And then the Namians turn him into a park ranger. Um, Environmental activism. He kills three people by spiking trees and kills two loggers. So environmental activists will take railroad spikes or smaller, and they will drive them into commercial hardwood trees so that when lumberjacks come to harvest, their chainsaws will hit the spikes and the spikes will explode along with the chainsaws. So we can say kills a logger. Oh, let's see. Trouble aspects. That's a supervillain name that is not in any way racially derivative. Where'd you throw it? Was that in Messenger? Or was that in? Okay. I Messenger. Okay. Ooh, yep, like it. Okay, let's look at the. I kind of like the first one. I like the one that doesn't have the American flag on it because this guy does not like America. And this looks kind of like half Asian, half yeah. I like that one a lot. All right. Uh, get that drug over. And that's a square image, so that'll also work for an icon. Awesome. Good job. I need to have younger, more technically capable people come up with our images more often. I feel like making green sleeves a major bad guy. That'll do. Oh, I have to look up what his refresh would be then. 1 second. I'll figure out how many stunts he's got to use. I once sat down on a slow weekend and figured out what the character size would be for random bad guys at all levels. So an epic, 20 refresh. We can deal with that later. Well, let's see, athletics, survival. Let's see. So he's a son of a Japanese biology, a PhD in biology from Japan and Native American activist. So I want him to be smart, but I also want him to be able to just combine the martial traditions of both. Um, of both warrior societies to be like without his powers, he's still scary. Scholarship, probably contacts. He definitely knows. Oh, Pitikawa Hana is like strength of the buffalo in your something or other. Uh, let me find it. Pitikawa Hana Piwian means sit at the buffalo pound. Pitakahan is buffalo pound or buffalo corral, and Apiu is sit. It's the name of a Plains Cree chief, also known as Pound Maker, who lived from 1842 to 1886. So colloquial translation would be buffalo tamer. Mhm. And Ryu is that's dragon. It also yeah, in Japanese. It can also mean way. There's other kanji with the same pronunciation. One of them means way, like martial way, um, as opposed to like civilian way, which is do. So the warrior, so like the warrior's way, you know, or path maybe, right? But yeah, dragon buffalo tamer is a perfectly doable contacts because scholarship. You need scholarship. You got lore, pilots. Do I drive? I don't know. Weapons, shooting. I think I would like fight more than I would like empathy. Let's go with fight, and then we can do stealth. Provoke. Equal, just still give him 4, and then we'll put empathy down a little bit because he's villain. That's enough for going on with. I have to open the Dresden files at this point and start like looking at animal powers. Interesting. Your story version. Yeah, so my thought is, his in his zeal for the environment, he killed somebody. So, shorthand, he's a murderer, but the Namians made him like a galactic park ranger. So let's look at features. I want to notice. Well, he's my goal is for him to be kind of like Greenpeace Magneto. You know, I want him to be able to have power over animals and the elements. So he's just, and then without those powers, he's, you know, a high level, a high level black belt and knows Indian fighting arts. So he's just a bitch to deal with without his powers, and with his powers, it's just hey, no fair. Yeah. So we're building a major bad guy, right? This is not Thug of the Week. This is Kingpin of South Dakota. Well, yeah, he's supposed to be the equal of like two characters, right? Two characters working together will be hard pressed to take him down. And then if I've got more people playing, then he gets henchmen. Like Power Gaming Weasels are smart enough to try to just team up on my big butt of bad and then deal with the henchmen. Um, I don't know. We'll see how much he's got. I'm mostly thinking control. Aspect of the base, pack instincts. Yep. Well, you gotta be able to keep up. So we'll say his senses. The Beastmaster. That's 4, 8. That kind of covers the animal senses stuff. So he can basically teleport his consciousness into animals. You know, use them as drones, and he's got echoes of their senses, which is that aspect of the beast. But supernatural senses is also broad senses. I gotta edit that a little bit more. Um, has echoes of most animal senses at a reduced level, even exotic ones like feeling EM fields. And sharks and bees do. Yes, he can hear your heartbeat. So good luck sneaking up on him or lying to him. Backbeater's kind of how he can link and how many he can link to. Yeah, he's got to close his eyes and throw his consciousness out there. So he can be sitting meditating on, you know, 20 miles away and being watching you through the peregrine falcon outside of your bedroom window. By outside, because the peregrine falcon, I mean like half a mile outside. No, this guy's gonna be a nightmare to deal with. I love it. Let's see. Other things. Well, he's got to be able to. What's up? Yeah, passionate, very passionate. Yeah, definitely. Well, I think this is a start. I think I can keep working on Greensleeves, but I think he'll be a good. I think he'll make a great arch villain. Um, I don't know that he sees any difference between animals and other people. Well, I mean, we can learn. We learn about neuropsychology by lobster experiments. When we're talking about like pharmacology for like antidepressives and stuff. So yeah, I don't. I don't think he's figured. I don't think he's figured that out yet. I don't think his worldview has extended that far yet. Like he probably could, but I don't think it would ever occur to him that he's one of those everything but people are of value, and of course, also Indians. Environmentally aware Indians as opposed to anybody who isn't an environmentalist because they're not true Indians. So he's got the no true Scotsman thing going on, right? All Scotsmen disagree with me. Anybody who disagrees, all Scotsmen agree with me. Anybody who disagrees with me is not a true Scotsman. I'm going to go through and give him at least inhuman, if not higher, probably higher, like physical abilities, physical powers, just because he had to keep up with a nature preserve, right? He's got to be able to run with the deer and wrestle the bear and all of the mythic stuff he ended up doing. So he was really, really happy in the forests of whatever planet they dumped him on. He's probably kind of pissed to be back. And like, well, can can you imagine dumping this guy into the planet of Avatar, the Avatar movies? But I don't know if he'd get anything done because he'd just be having environmentalist orgasms every time he opened his eyes. Um, so he's kind of dealing with the shock of being sent back to the world because he was in his happy place. And probably if we just left him into the middle of the forest, hugging trees and talking to the six-legged lions, he would probably never have bothered anyone ever again. Dump him on an uninhabited planet, let him, run out his until his nanites, break down, and then, forget about him, and he would have died happy. But hugging trees and buggering sheep. So, but nope, nope. Now he's back on Earth, and he's gonna have an attitude about it, and we get one of our supervillains. Oh no, no, he's a guyist. He's That's part of his, like, the plague of humanity is destroying Mother Earth. He's one of the environmentalists who believe that Mother Earth won't be saved until humanity is eradicated. And those people are actually out there. I'm not making them up. Oh, come on. We both went to Bemidji State. We've met them. Some of them are on staff. Okay. We've we've right, right. But this is a superhero storyline. But we've known people who we could buy them coffee and they would sit down and they would give us lip service to that idea. You know, I mean, their individual lives were not the plague on the face of the planet. It's everybody else. And there really are eco terrorists who, you preach this stuff to a mentally unstable person, and they really do go drive spikes into trees to kill loggers. Yep. Well, I remember you borrowing some of my well, before I talk about your I'm gonna stop recording really quick. Do-do-do.